Hello, I'm Councillor Chris Penberthy, Cabinet Member for Housing and Cooperative Development here in Plymouth. Welcome to this presentation about Plymouth, fishing and cooperatives. It was originally a workshop during Cooperatives Fortnight 2020. I hope that you're enjoying the pictures of Plymouth playing now and find this webinar helpful. Plymouth has a fascinating history extending back to the Bronze Age. Thanks to its natural harbour, Plymouth was initially a fishing village, and Sutton Harbour was the major fishing port for the area, as it remains today. As surrounding towns grew, there was more local competition for selling seafood. Many fishermen would catch fish in Plymouth waters and sell at different local ports. In 1384, Parliament decreed that all fish caught in the waters of Sutton, Plymouth and the Tamar should be displayed in Plymouth and Saltash only. Fishing was the most important industry in Plymouth during Tudor times, and over time coastal trade increased. In 1497, John Cabot found Newfoundland and its rich population of fish, and from then on Plymouth fishermen caught seafood off the Newfoundland coast. As the population of Plymouth increased, so did its reputation. In 1641, its claimed writers stated that Plymouth was chiefly dependent on the fish trade, and by 1669, a foreign writer said that Plymouth was among the best cities in England, and we're inclined to agree that it still is today. Although other industries were introduced through the decades, fishing has remained an important industry in Plymouth. In 1889, Sutton Harbour Company secured permission to build a new covered fish market along the Barbican quayside. By the end of the 20th century, the fish market was struggling to meet the requirements of the modern fishing fleet, and a new fishing complex was developed across the water on the other side of the harbour. There are currently more than 20 cooperative enterprises with headquarters in the city, owned and run by about 9,500 members. As a council, we've set the strategic goal of doubling the cooperative economy in Plymouth by 2025. We want to support new and existing cooperatives to develop and grow. So why fishing and cooperatives? Well, one of our local cooperatives is the Plymouth Trawler Agents. They've been at the heart of the fishing industry here in Plymouth for many years, and most recently have developed a fantastic initiative during the COVID lockdown, an initiative that has cooperation and sustainability at its heart, an initiative that began in Plymouth and is already reaching many parts of the country, an initiative that shows cooperation in action, with people coming together and working collaboratively to find a solution to a major problem. You will hear more about Plymouth Trawler Agents from a fisherman and learn about the new initiative Call for Fish in this presentation, as well as having a cooking demonstration from Councillor Tudor Evans, the leader of the council.
Right, it's Christmas 1994, the final EU dispensation on health and hygiene grounds ran out for the old Plymouth Fish Market. It was on the western side of the Barbican, where the Edinburgh Wool Mill is. Waiting in the wings, of course, after the modernisation of the harbour in the early 90s, was the new fish market on the eastern side of the harbour. The only problem with that was that nobody wanted to use it. None of the existing firms of auctioneers or merchants were able to go over there because they felt the costs were too high. And Sutton Harbour's attempts to attract national and regional firms of auctioneers were also unsuccessful, simple as that. Now, fishermen were left with the choice of either sending their fish to Newlyn or Brixton or doing the job themselves. In other words, setting up a cooperative type venture. This was something completely new for them, but they decided, much against best advice, to go with it and try it. So they appointed a press gang at Naval City, of course, and the only way of raising the money necessary to set up the company and give it a cash flow was to find the ugliest, most frightening fishermen you could get. They were successful to the tune of £25,000, which in 1994 was quite considerable and quite successful. We don't worry about democracy too much in the fishing industry. The next thing, of course, was to set up the company. It was done with some help from Sutton Harbour Company, £10,000, which was repaid within 18 months. And on February the 2nd, 1995, we started operations as a private limited company, and I'll explain about that. The trout auction on Plymouth Market, which was what happened in all the other markets in Great Britain at the time. Very simply, we had one auctioneer, 2 fish graders and 2 girls in the office. That was our entire staff. And although only £700,000 worth of fish had gone across the old market in its last year of operations, we moved to 1.8 million in the first year, 3.4 million in the second year. But progress was very slow. The transition came, the great sea change in effect, in 1999, when we visited the continent and found they were light years ahead of us in terms of selling fish. They did it electronically. And of course, the catch to that and the great attraction from the fisherman's point of view was that you could reach out to buyers all over the country if you could just get them to join in electronically. It wasn't popular with the local merchants, of course, who didn't welcome the extra competition. But that was the takeoff point. The next stage was followed by an intranet system. The only problem with that was it was very expensive for the buyers because they had to pay the telephone calls throughout the duration of each auction, which could last up to 2 or 3 hours. The real sea change came in 2010 when we moved to a secure internet site. Suddenly it became free for all the merchants and the new buyers piled in. That's the only way to describe it. We have over 60 buyers now, some of them continental buyers, but certainly spread throughout the United Kingdom. Now, the progress of the company has been dramatic. From the 700,000, it went to about 10 million in 2010, and then steadily increased again to our record year of 2018, when we did £19 million worth of fish. The only hitch with that, of course, is that you have to recover that money when you've sold the fish from the buyers. 2018 was a notable year because it was a brilliant cuttle fishery. It was good for the fishermen, good for the merchants, but not quite so good for the cuttlefish. Since then, fishing has tailed off a little bit and we've got further problems, as you'll be aware. A little bit about the company. It has a regional outlook as well as a local one. So it not only takes fish from Plymouth, it takes it from many of the southwest ports like Looe and Polperro, Mevagissey, Salcombe, Dartmouth, Kingswear, all places that don't have auction markets. It also takes in fish from as far away as South Wales and Eastbourne, if you like, to go along the south coast. And the company has become responsible for settling the catches of some 365 different vessels, over 80 different species of fish. We have a wonderful mixed fishery on our doorstep. And what of the future? Well, the ethos of the company will remain the same, that we're there to treat customers and merchants, fishermen as customers. It's very important. Fishermen before, it was rather like a peasant and a landlord business rating. And we've changed all that so that they are our customers, they're the people who deserve the service, and we're not there to maximize profits. In the future, we're very, very grateful for the help we're getting from Plymouth City Council. Their sustainable fish plan was always going to be important. It's of even more importance now. We have had problems like every other company with COVID, that very unexpected and unwelcome guest that's come to us all, but we've had to deal with it. We've stayed open throughout it. And the other problem, of course, is Brexit, and we don't know what the results of the fisheries will be, the fisheries negotiations on that. They're still ongoing. But we're very optimistic for the future, and we think there's a wonderful opportunity to liven up, refreshen, and regenerate the eastern side of the harbour, particularly with the aquarium. Plymouth City Council set a wonderful example with the box. They know how to do things properly. and we hope to goodness they'll see fit to carry on and probably provide us with a new fish market. That would be wonderful. Now, having given you that very quick précis of it, I have great pleasure in putting you aboard the vessel, the Crystal Sea, where you will speak to David Stevens, who lands his fish to us regularly. Thank you.
When I look back to March and the beginning of the lockdown and just think about the situation that we faced, we'd lost pretty much everything from a supply chain point of view. So we were faced with pretty much tying up, and everyone from the fishermen to the market, to the merchants, processors, then through to the public, we faced the total inability to supply the fish from our end right through the supply chain. And really, it was the Core for Fish initiative and the website being set up by Dave and the team at Core for Fish, which really made all of the difference, because they took all of those parts of the industry and kept them all together, and that was key. And the cooperation from fishermen, through the merchants, and from processors, and crucially with the amazing support of the public, that cooperative approach that the Core for Fish brought to the table and nurtured and brought together just by communications, just great communications with Terry. That was the difference between us being able to go to sea, come in and sell our fish. And right through the supply chain, there was people involved in the marketing of the fish on the market side. They kept their jobs. The people in the processors and the merchants kept their jobs. And we made that crucial link with the public. And that's great mileage for the future. And it was great to see the industry able to cooperate in that way. It just takes a coordination point for that to happen. So I'd just like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. And cooperation is the key.
Thanks a lot, Dave, for recording that whilst busy fishing. It just goes to show that cooperation is important, makes a difference, and is worth talking about. And on that theme, I'd like to introduce Rodney Anderson, who can tell us all about Call for Fish.
Well, it seems like a lifetime ago. Back in early March, I was at Plymouth Fish Market, visiting Plymouth Trawler Agents, PTA, and I was hearing from the fishermen how their businesses were being impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Foreign markets had closed, prices were plummeting, and it was obvious that things were going to get worse before they got better. What was not obvious was quite what we might do about that. By the third week of March, it is not an exaggeration to say the country was gripped in a fear of a pandemic about which even the experts knew nothing. There was no rescue package for the fishing industry. Because of the unique nature of the industry, the boats and the people who worked on them and the smaller businesses on land were all on their own. The whole supply chain was crumbling, and actually it was truly frightening. Realization that self-help was our only hope was the genesis of Call for Fish. The idea was born on Friday, 20th March, and you'll gather from that that date is now etched in my heart as we chewed over what might be done. That weekend and into the Monday, we developed the concept, we built a website, we set up systems and processes, we spoke to fishermen and traders, marshalled support, and on Tuesday morning, Call for Fish was launched. It's a strong brand, a strong entity now, but then basically it was just an idea. We genuinely did not know whether it would work, but actually our hope was that it would do some good. It just might give people a bit of hope. And this is the point. I think I have to register a massive thanks to Plymouth City Council, to Seafarers UK, and the Fishmongers Company. We really could not have done everything we've done without them. They recognised from day one an emergency calls for decisive action, and throughout they have provided unstinting support. At its core, Call for Fish is a very simple idea. That's its great strength. There are 4 key elements. The first, the bit everybody sees, is to have a website listing where people can buy fresh fish and use social media and other publicity to drive purchasing traffic to that site. As I say, this is the bit that people see. But behind the scenes, an important element of the whole project is to help the merchants adapt their businesses in response to the new world of lockdown, social distancing, businesses mothballing, communications breakdown, and all the other challenges of the pandemic. Now, some of those are beginning to ease, but actually many of the problems still remain. A third element was, and this was very important, the support and, where possible, reconnection, the rewiring of the supply chain, not to seek to circumvent it, not to seek a shortcut, because people through that supply chain are the experts in their field. They know what they're doing. And we have to remember that jobs at sea matter, but so do jobs on land. And for every job at sea, you get 4 or 5 on land. The fourth principle or element is that we're not partisan. We don't sell fish. We help fishermen, we help the traders, and we help people who want to buy the fish. The aim was to get fish caught in British waters by British boats to a home market. COVID-19 has highlighted, has showcased the importance of food security. It's a term much used in dialogue and discussion about farming and agriculture and fisheries. But I don't think that any of us fully grasped the importance of it until we saw the pandemic and its effects on the supply chain. And now food security has real meaning for all of us. Initially, the extent of our ambition was pretty modest. It was to help Plymouth, to help the fishing industry in Plymouth, and to help the people in Plymouth to be able to buy safe, healthy, good quality fish. We hoped the idea might work, but we simply didn't know. We were gratified. Within 48 hours, we had over 500 people signed up as potential customers. The impact was almost immediate. Merchants were working frantically to keep up, working crazy hours. The auction house was selling fish and boats were going to sea. Within days, we were being approached by businesses further afield, asking to be part of Call for Fish. It was PTA's call, and the answer came back: if we can help, we should. We now have listings nationally. Fish can be ordered and delivered anywhere in the UK. We've reached out through social media to over 1 million people, something we never imagined when we started. What has come through strongly throughout is just how much we all rely upon each other. Only by working together, the fishermen, the auction houses, the traders, the merchants, the fishmongers, transport companies, has it been possible to make this work. We've also experienced enormous goodwill and support among the customers, among ordinary people. People have been hugely appreciative. The fishermen were prepared to add to their daily risks to provide for the nation. And the ordinary workers in the processors, merchants and shops were prepared to risk their health for others. Call for Fish has truly been a cooperative venture, and it does illustrate the best of cooperative endeavour. I'm now going to hand over, and there'll be a short clip or footage showing what actually has been happening on the ground and how the fish has been supplied to all of us. Thank you.
If there's less seafood being sold abroad, why isn't more of it ending up with fishmongers like Paul? It all comes down to the high overheads of fishing. For bigger boats, fuel costs alone can be £3,200 a day, meaning you need to be sure of a good price. And with the price of some species falling by 50%, it's just not worth going out. Those dramatic price drops are all down to the UK fishing industry's reliance on overseas consumers. So, with those export markets on ice, what's the solution for the UK's fishermen? Maritime industry consultant Terry Portman has been working to find alternative supply chains.
We started getting phone calls from fishermen around the coast who are struggling to sell their catch, and at the same time, fish shops who had lost their supply chain.
On the one hand, fishermen without customers. On the other, customers without fish. Terry's scheme aims to solve both problems. Uniquely, it offers a national database of wholesalers and fishmongers, many of whom deliver fish direct to the doorstep.
If you visit callforfish.com, you can look at the different areas, and if you live somewhere that's already listed, you can get a local fish delivery to your door, or you can click on the nationwide list, and that will give you all the fishmongers and merchants across the country that will deliver overnight to you.
The idea was immediately successful, delivering fish to people across the West Country and beyond.
Within a week, we sold over 1,500 boxes, and then the phone calls started from other areas. And it's a similar tale. So fishmongers who'd lost their supply chain and fishermen who'd lost their export markets. And I think that it's reconnected this nation of islands with the fishing communities, to a simpler time perhaps when you did eat fish every Friday.
Those fishermen have had to come up with new ways to get their catch on our plates.
Yeah, and one of those fishermen is Bracken Pearce. He's getting his fish delivered directly to your door now in a new scheme. We are joining him now live on his boat, the Spirited Lady, and he tells me, I was just talking to him in the break, he's 16 miles off the Lizard, off the Cornish coast. And look how clear that is. That's amazing, Bracken. Good to see you.
Good morning.
How long have you been out fishing today?
We left last night at 10 p.m. We left Mobagizzy.
Well, you're looking fresh, you're looking well. Have you caught much?
We had one haul so far. It's been reasonable, happy enough with it for a start.
Very difficult time for the fishing industry, Bracken. Obviously, Aim is saying the restaurants closed. You can't export now, which you do normally to Spain and Italy. But there's a scheme now called Call for Fish. Tell us about that and how it's helping you.
Call for Fish was set up by Plymouth Trawler Agents, which is our main agents, who sell our fish to connect the general public with fish buyers to make it an easier link for the public to buy fresh local fish. You can go on the website, you can make an order, you can get fish on your doorstep the next morning, which is far quicker than any supermarket can supply fish to you.
So it's important that people support British fishermen then?
Yeah, it's really important, and I've heard reports of 200% to 300% uplift in local fishmongers' sales increasing. So the British public are really getting behind the fishermen, which is great, and it's highly appreciated.
Call for Fish started off as an idea in Plymouth, but it's grown quickly, spreading to Lyme Bay, to Jersey and other ports beyond, such as New Haven and London. Louise Krieber is already a customer.
I don't know about anybody else, but I am super excited not to be eating chicken at the moment. So in here we have 3 beautiful fresh lemon soles.
And that's very good news indeed, especially for a fish out of water like me. Oh,
hey, good
hello.
afternoon. Your
Look at
first
that.
delivery of fresh fish from Sound Seafood in Plymouth.
Wow, you've come a long way. I'm really looking forward to getting these on the barbecue.
I bet you are.
Having heard that fantastic video there about Call for Fish, where it came from, and the fact that a quick idea in Plymouth led to something so fantastic that's going on across the country. And here, I'd not only like to pay tribute to our local fishermen for coming up with the idea, and for the council, obviously, for the work they did to support it, but also to Fishmongers Hall, the oldest livery company in the country, and Seafarers UK, a charity who both have helped financially support Call for Fish and the way it goes forward. Call for Fish has been fantastic, not only in providing fish for sale, but also in supporting some of those people who really need support, and have needed it even more over the last few weeks. So Shekinah have been receiving fish and distributing it in cooked form through all the support we're giving to homeless people in the city, making sure that they have really good quality meals. Age UK Plymouth and Provide Devon have been distributing fish in food boxes to people who are shielded, and people who are in need of food aid at home. So this hasn't just been a commercial operation, this has been an operation looking after some of the most vulnerable people here in Plymouth as well. So thank you very much to all of the fishermen who've made that possible. We in Plymouth would certainly be much poorer without you. Now, Call for Fish hasn't just been a sales bit. We've got our own new celebrity chef here in Plymouth, someone who's passionate about our local fishing industry and about cooking. So here we have our very own Councillor Tudor Evans, a leader of the council, with his cooperative breakfast fishing video.
Hello, it's Call for Fish time, but a very special Call for Fish because we're doing this for Co-op's Fortnight. So I hope you're enjoying the seminar. What am I doing today? Well, the reason I'm here is because Co-op Fortnight is basically to try and raise awareness of what co-ops do. I mean, in Plymouth, our strategic goal is to double the size of the co-op economy by 2023. You know, we've got more than 20 co-op HQs in Plymouth right now, with, which is owned and run by about 9,500 people. And we've got amazing examples of how people have been cooperatively working during the COVID crisis. Call for Fish is one of those, and you'll hear a bit more about that, I'm sure, in due course. So, what are we doing? Well, we're doing kedgeree. We're having breakfast, and we're using this magnificent book by Mark Hicks. Now, this is not your common or garden kedgeree recipe yet. So what I'm using is this beautiful fish. This is naturally smoked haddock, not that yellow stuff, and salmon. And we bought this from down the local market, place in our Plymouth Pannier Market. So where are we? We've got a frying pan here with some butter in it. Here we've got diced onion. Just going to put in there. And also some chopped ginger. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's a bit chunky for breakfast, and of course it is, but we'll be making this curry sauce, which is the centerpiece of this. So I'm going to start the ball rolling with this lovely stuff. Now, kedgeree's got a number of inventions to it. I mean, it's a traditional dish, and then it was reinvented, I suppose. But it's a great way of using up rice and fish, basically. I mean, as I say, we're using salmon and we're using smoked haddock, but you could use other white fish, whatever you have available. So what I'm going to do is, as I say, we mustn't colour the onion and the garlic and the ginger. We just got to let it simmer nicely, just to get translucent. And when I've done that, I'm going to be adding to it these lovely spices. Now, what I've got here is I've got crushed fenugreek, I've got some ground cumin, I've got some turmeric, I've got some curry powder, and a few strands of saffron. And what we do is we pop these in on top of this. And what we do is not to to do it to death. We only need about a minute to get these flavours from these spices going. As you can see, it's, I mean, already fantastic aromatics, I have to say, just from that little bit. So I'm basically giving it a minute, and then I add fish stock. Earlier on I mentioned the fish, and I poached those, so I've got the poaching liquor residually here, and a good quality fish stock cube. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop that in to my sauce. You can see already the beautiful colours. But as I say, the colour is not coming from caramelising the onions, the colour is coming from that lovely turmeric and that saffron. So that by half. And then what I've got, I mean, in the recipe, Mark's got cream. I'm in a bit more virtuous. I've got creme fraiche, okay, available in all good co-op stores. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this cream to this sauce, and then we have 15 minutes of excitement while we wait for the sauce to mature. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this cream in here, and then we're going to come back when all the excitement is over of cooking this sauce and put the whole dish together. Call for fish, eat more fish. So we've made the sauce. Not only have we made it, we've actually blended it and sieved it. So there it is. It looks fantastic. And what I'm going to do is, just to add to it now to finish the dish, is I'm going to put in these chopped hard-boiled eggs. Lovely. And then this fish, which is of course the centerpiece. So poached salmon, poached smoked haddock, and they go in to that lovely sauce. I've got to tell you, this is going to be delicious. So just mix that sauce in a bit. And that, I think, it's fair to say, is very tempting. So we get now this rice, and very nice it is too. And I'm going to put some regular basmati rice into the bowl, and that will be enough because it is, after all, only breakfast. And then this wonderful sauce and the eggs and the fish goes over the top. So look at that. That, I think, is a pretty amazing breakfast, which we just finish with a bit of coriander, and that is Mark Hicks's kedgeree. So, call for fish. Fishers couldn't sell, cooks couldn't buy fish, so the industry came together with the council and partners with a joint solution to protect the supply chain during the coronavirus, and we looked after livelihoods. So what do? We deliver direct. We reach more than 1 million people now through the website and social media, and it's best practice. 24 locations are now running Call for Fish. Started in Plymouth, now it's nationwide. Eat more fish, use Call for Fish, shop at the Co-op. Co-op Fortnight. I'm a co-op councillor and I love it.
Cooperation isn't just about a theory or where we go and buy our fish. It's actually the way that lots of us live our lives day by day, and actually what makes business successful. And it's great that a cooperative approach has been so important to our fishing industry here in recent times. Before we finish, here are a couple of questions that we got asked during our workshop. So Anna has asked how the council has been supporting the fishing industry. We've done that in a whole variety of ways. In our joint local plan, which is the bit that actually describes what we can do in planning terms and how land is used, we've actually protected the fish market and processing areas for fishing industry. So that's really, really positive, and shows our commitment to keeping a fishing industry here in Plymouth. We've actually got in economic development specialisms working with the fishing industry on how they develop, and obviously on an ongoing basis we've been working with the fishing fleet. We brought in a special life jacket scheme with life jackets equipped with sonar finding, so that if there was an accident at sea, it was less likely to lead to a loss of life. So small things that have made actually a massive difference to the fishing industry. Call for Fish is just the latest one of those. So the National Marine Park that we are establishing in Plymouth Sound and surrounding waters will add to all of that, ensuring sustainable fishery alongside other uses of our waters. So we've been doing quite a lot, and I'd like to thank Anna for that question. I've also been asked, how could someone go about starting a co-op in Plymouth? Is there any support, and can I use crowdfunder? You can use crowdfunder. Nudge actually did their community share issue through crowdfunding, though others have done other ways. But if you want to get in touch with either me or the team who've organised this, Anna Peachy, Jane Hunt, Erinch, and Patrick Bowes, they will all happily talk to you. We have a team in the council who are able to support getting a co-op set up, and we also have a capital fund, so that if we need to support it, we can buy shares to help make sure that there is capital available, because we know that's one of the big issues. So we will be doing our very best to support cooperatives to set up. Thanks for listening. We hope that you found this a useful webinar. Please get in touch if you want to know more. Take care, stay safe, goodbye.